Bold.
Cheeky.
Flashy. Gallus.
So it's OMFRU today. This month's OMFRU it's a fun one. With the ending of OMFRUs coming up at the end of the year, I wanted to try something 100% different. So we've done TV show OMFRUs, we've done horror film OMFRUs, we've done OMFRUs of all sorts of things. But today we're doing a first time ever OMFRU. We're going to do an OMFRU for WWE, AEW, New Japan, for basically wrestling pay-per-views. That's right, we are taking the monthly wrestling podcast, we are taking the OMFRU and we are merging them into not one, because there will still be your regularly scheduled wrestling release of this month. In fact, it's already happened and it was an absolute banger after banger after banger. But this is, of course, just an OMFRU about wrestling shows. So I hope you sit back, relax and enjoy 30 1-minute pay-per-view roundups on different events. Clash at the Castle is one of the best wrestling shows I've ever had the privilege of watching, and I say this because I watched it there live. Myself and my cousin Michael went to the Hydro, we stood in the Hydro and we chanted, "Oh, Drew McIntyre," and we broke records for loudest crowds and so on and so forth. This show was so much fun to be a part of. I've got no idea what it looks like not being there live. But it's a show that would be the best wrestling show ever. It should have Drew McIntyre have won, but unfortunately I am forced to use some of this minute to get in my obligatory CM cunt of a wrestling podcast, because what the hell, man. Damien Priest's entrance was drowned out with Drew McIntyre chants. Alba Fry and Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn would pick up the women's tag belts. Viper, we got Viper chants over. That's a good thing. AJ Styles and Cody had a banger, adrenaline in his soul. What a moment. Orton's got a cool theme. Bloodline do their thing. Sami Zayn. Yeah, absolutely. Clash at the Castle's worth watching. King and Queen of the Ring this year is an unfortunate one, as I do recall the show being pretty good. I mean, with Gunther and Randy Orton having a pretty alright match, a match that I personally believe is overrated in the King of the Ring finals, ending on a slight botch, that was fine, but at least going to a 1. You had Liv Morgan beating Becky Lynch in a match that was actually just fine, and Nia Jax killing Lyra Valkyrie. All of this was just fine. The three-way, which is when everyone began to fall in love with Otis, would just see Sami Zayn retain, and your main event of Cody and Logan Paul, as good of a match as it was, I do personally believe it under-delivered, and generally that is the truth for the show. It under-delivered. It lacked a big time hook to properly invest you in it, and there was just something off with like the entire night. Saudi Arabian shows will always be like that, but I think the best description of this show is, on the build I kept referring to it of Night of Champions, which is not what the show's called. Lyon France for Backlash this year was an absolute belter of a show. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton had an entrance that, I kid you not, lasted 10 minutes because the crowd were just being so loud and singing the entire thing. It starts off with a brawl, Tama Tonga's first official match, I believe. It was glorious, as it becomes a no DQ match immediately. Like, the adrenaline, the crowd, yes. This match was stellar. The next 3 matches were fine, Bayley and Naomi Stratton. Should have been Stratton that won. Stratton got screwed. Damien Priest versus Jey Uso, so glad Damien Priest won. Match was good enough. And Belair and the Kabuki Warriors was a botch fest that had no reason to go 20 minutes. But still, that main event between Cody and AJ Styles basically warranted this entire show being well received, as well as the French crowd. Although I do have to respond to the French crowd with Cody Rhodes over your love for no reason of AJ Styles, just because you have a football chant that goes phenomenal. It feels like for the past couple of years, every single time we get a WrestleMania, it's just been better and better and better and better. So this WrestleMania, I'm going to start by quickly talking to you about Night 2. Bayley vs Io Sky was an incredible match. Logan Paul, Owens and Orton was slightly not as good, but really, really good. The Pride with the Final Testament with Bubba Ray Dudley and Snoop Dogg was just funny. And the opening with Drew and Seth, Punk and Priest was flawless and brilliant. But that main event is like the second greatest wrestling match to ever happen, Cody versus Roman. So, yeah, the tag match the night before was just electric. The WrestleMania Endgame, Zayn versus bloody Zayn, oh no, I've had a complete mind fart. Zayn versus Gunta was beautiful. This weekend of wrestling just was one of those weekends where it's like, oh yeah, this is why I like wrestling. If I ever was doubting it, no, I'm not doubting it. Wrestling is alive. It's insane how much I feel Brock Lesnar not being in the men's rumble messed up the men's rumble, as they just kind of had to panic edit it, which led to a very, very bad Pat McAfee spot. And like, although Braun Breaker got some good stuff, the men's rumble was fine. You got your big Andrade return, which was nice to see, but other than that, it wasn't really anything too special, which is odd. You'd think it'd be killer. Logan Paul Owens ending a DQ for some reason I didn't mind and really, really enjoyed the match. Roman Reigns in the 4-way I thought was brilliant, but I feel like it went too short. I was digging it. A lot of people apparently went. The women's rumble was superb. Bayley going on to win, having been in there right from the start. That moment, that insane moment at the end with Tiffany, with Becky, with Liv. Yeah, that makes a good rumble. And hey, Jordan Grace popped the hell out of one Ryan in her spot with Bianca. 2020 was a weird year for the WWE, and I don't think it gets weirder than the show that we call Payback. So 1 week after SummerSlam, this is when the show took place, right? So Bobby Lashley defeats Apollo Crews to win the United States title. That I remember being completely fine. Beige beat Sheamus in a match that I bloody loved. Riddle beats Corbin in a pretty shit match, but Riddle is hey, Riddle's here. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler beat Bayley and Banks, and that's when the tag division just went downhill. Keith Lee squashed Randy Orton in 6 minutes, then Randy Orton would go on to win multiple world title matches. It was odd. Dom and Ray Ray battled Murphy and Rollins after Rollins killed Dom the week prior. The good guys win this one, but your main event is the only thing worth talking about in this show, which is when Roman Reigns just walked out, won the title, and left, which is why this show is historic, because it's where Roman Reigns' never-ending World Championship run began. But as you can tell just by the card that I ran down quickly there, wasn't the best show ever done by anyone ever. We're going to stick with 2020 here, and we're going to hop to Hell in a Cell, right? So Hell in a Cell is a show that I'm going to talk you through in chronological order. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso had a 30-minute Universal title Aqua Hell in a Cell match, which was one of the best matches I've seen of that year. This is when Roman Reigns and Jey Uso was like, oh my god, and I was properly rooting for Jey Uso to beat Roman Reigns then and there. Superb. Elias bet Jeff Hardy by DQ in a match that I do not remember happening. The Miz defeated Otis with Tucker's heel turn in a match that I do remember happening and I do remember hating. Banks bet Bayley in an ungodly level good Hell in a Cell match. Like, oh my god, Banks is champion, and she kept the belt this time. Bobby Lashley beat Slapjack for the US strap. That one's fun. It's just funny that happened. And then Orton bet McIntyre in 30 minutes, which was the longest match on the card and didn't make any sense. Like, Drew goes for a Claymore, moves it away to SRKO, and all of a sudden Orton is world champion. They were on top of the cell at one point. I remember that being amazing. But why the hell did Randy Orton win here? No, that's wrong. That is wrong. 2021's Money in the Bank was a damn good show. So the fans had returned for this show permanently full time, and that just led to absolute glory. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match was, well, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. You know, Nikki Ash beat Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Natalia, Zelina Vega, and most importantly, Tamina, which means Tamina got a main pay-per-view match, which I will never complain about. The Raw Tag Straps, AJ Styles and Amass defeated the Viking Raiders. Cool. Lashley beat Kingston for the WWE title. I remember being sad that this match was bad and wanting so much more from it. Charlotte bet Ripley for the women's title, which was certainly a choice. And this is when you got the absolute stellar men's Money in the Bank ladder match. One of the best lineups, one of the best matches in Money in the Bank in recent time. Morrison, Owens, Nakamura, Ricochet, Riddle, Rollins, Drew and Beige securing the Money in the Bank briefcase. Hell yeah. And Roman Reigns battled Edge in a match that a lot of people aren't too big on, but I adore. And John Cena returned. God, the start of 2022 was actually dreadful for professional wrestling. Elimination Chamber. It must be one of the worst WWE pay-per-views I've ever actually had to watch. And this is why. Roman versus Goldberg for the Universal title. Bianca Belair defeated Alexa Bliss, Doudrop, Liv Morgan, Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley. This match made no sense for its booking of Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Doudrop, Nikki Ash and Bianca Belair. Naomi and Ronda Rousey battled Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville, hand tied behind back, bollocks. Drew almost killed Madcap Moss in somehow an okay match. And Becky Lynch defeated Lita in 2022 in the best match on a card. Then Brock Lesnar squashed Styles, Theory, Lashley, Riddle and Rollins and took home the WWE Championship. This show was dog shit. It came after a dog shit Rumble and before a goddamn great Mania. You figure it out. How can you make a show so bad? It was in Saudi Arabia, wasn't it? Was this one in Saudi Arabia? I don't care. SummerSlam 2023, the return of professional wrestling. Triple H's first show in charge, and my god, could you tell the Mysterios beat the Judgment Day in an ODQ tag match. Lashley squashes Theory. Logan Paul beats The Miz. Bianca Belair beats Becky Lynch in a goddamn amazing rematch from WrestleMania. Then Damage Control are there. EO has returned. Pat McAfee would beat Happy Corbin. Jeff Jarrett would do this weird thing in an Usos Street Profits tag match. Liv Morgan would beat Ronda Rousey in the only down point of this show. Drew McIntyre would cut a promo being like, I will win the title at Clash at the Castle, which he goddamn should have. CM cunt, Solo Sikoa. And Roman Reigns would defeat Brock Lesnar in the last man standing match with the forklift. It's the show that had the forklift and it had Damage Control and a Drew McIntyre pre-pay-per-view promo. This is what wrestling pay-per-views should be like. And I'm so glad that they have generally, for the most part, lived up to this. There hasn't really been a show that's been shit since. Wrestlemania 35 is a show that is so incredibly mixed, but it was the first WrestleMania where everyone was like, right, hold on a minute, this show's been like 8 hours long. Seth wins the world title in 2 minutes. Great moment. Styles beat Orton in a fine match. The Usos defeated Aleister Black, Ricochet, Rusev, Nakamura in the bar in a fantastic little match. Shane McMahon defeated The Miz in a fantastic little match. Women's tag team action happened and it was all round bad. Kofi would beat Bryan in what should have main evented and was genuinely one of the greatest moments and matches I have seen in a while. Joe squashes Mysterio. Roman beats Drew. Welcome back, Roman. Triple H and Batista had a fight. Corbin would retire Kurt Angle, Balor would beat Lashley in a squash match, and Becky, Flair and Charlotte would unify women's wrestling. You see how many squash matches were unnecessarily on that show for matches that could have had good time or just been not there. All but Kofi Bryan, what a. Takeover New Orleans might just be the greatest wrestling show of all time. I'll tell you my top 3's Clash at the Castle, Takeover New Orleans and Takeover Cardiff, but this show, it opens on a ladder match. It is one of the greatest ladder matches ever. Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Lars Sullivan, EC3, Killian Dane, Adam Cole for the inaugural North American Championship. And this match is a spot fest of gold. Adam Cole winning the strap, meaning he has to do double duty. Shayna Baszler would beat Ember Moon for the Women's Championship in a damn near perfect match. The tag team title match was just beautiful with Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong, the Authors of Pain, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Of course, we would see the heel turn, Roderick Strong joining the Sweet Deer. Aleister Black would defeat Andrade Almas in a belter to win his NXT Championship, and Johnny Gargano would defeat Tommaso Ciampa in a match that basically killed the internet. 2 5-star matches from Dave Meltzer on this show, a genuine electric atmosphere, and it just looks the part. This is my comfort wrestling show, I feel like. I'll watch any of the matches from this show during the time where you need to be like, you're down on wrestling, I'll watch that one. The first show NXT would put on that would be titled Takeover Brooklyn had Jushin Thunder Liger battle Tyler Breeze. I don't really feel the need to necessarily say much more than that. Sadly, Jushin Thunder Liger would win. The Vaudevillains with Blue Pants beat Blake and Murphy for the tag belts. Apollo Crews would squash Ty Dillinger. Samoa Joe beat Baron Corbin in a match that I remember liking way too much as a win. Balor would defeat Owens in a ladder match in the main event for the NXT title, in a match that I actually don't recall because this show really is a one-hit wonder. It is Bayley, Sasha Banks, the best women's match of all time, one of the greatest matches of all time. The curtain call moment as Bayley is crowned Women's World Champion. It genuinely brings tears to your eyes every single time you watch this match, and I personally prefer it to the Respect 30-minute Iron Woman match. It might just thinking back to this time in NXT is a reward in of itself. Moan the Bayley, moan the Hugger. All Elite Wrestling up their game this year and put on a show that is actually a contender for one of the greatest shows I've ever seen, funnily enough. Revolution. Christian Cage beat Daniel Garcia in the opener in a match that I bloody loved. Eddie Kingston bet Bryan Danielson in a match for the Triple Countdown that was not as good as I thought it would be, which is insane. But hey, it's a Bryan Danielson Eddie Kingston match. The 8-man scramble, Wardlow, Brian Cage, Lance Archer, Powerhouse Hobbs, the meat versus the not meat of Mini-meat, Dante Martin, Jericho, Hook and Magnus. I adore this match. A lot of people crap on it, but they can do one. Roddy Strong would kill Orange Cassidy. The Blackpool Combat Club and FTR would put on, when I watched this match, the match I said was my match of the year. Tony Storm would defeat Dorona Purrazzo in a match that I really liked. Then Will Ospreay would beat Konosuke Takeshita in my new match of the year. This match was gold. Kyle Fletcher being there at the end made me cry. Samoa Joe would defeat Adam Page, Swerve Strickland in a match that I thought was a new second favourite match of the year, and then Darby Allin and Sting would defeat the Young Bucks in the best retirement I think I've ever seen for a All In. Wembley is more historic than it is good. Punk and Joe have a belter of a match that people talk about way too much, but hey, Punk got fired here. And it probably was the reason Samoa Joe were going to be world champ, so no complaints. Bullet Club Gold and Konosuke Takeshita would defeat the Golden Elite, Adam Page, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi in a match that went way too long but was really kind of alright. FTR defeat the Young Bucks in the worst match together, but still an incredible match. The Best Friends, Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy and Pentagon would defeat the BCCs, Claudio, Mox, Yuta, Santana and Ortiz in a Stadium Stampede match that was a lot of fun. Saraya got a hometown pop, winning the Women's World title. Darby Allin and Sting would defeat Christian and Swerve. Insane that they've won the Coffin Tag match despite how much Christian and Swerve become vital to the company. Ospreay defeat Jericho in a good match, led to him signing with the company. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn's dreadful reign as Trios champions started here by beating one of the best, in fact the best Trios championship reign we've ever seen in the House of Black, so that's a shame. And MJF defeat Adam Cole in a really fun ending to a pay-per-view. Oh, Double or Nothing 2022, you are the worst pay-per-view I've ever stayed up to watch. This show was just hard to get through. Wardlow and killed MJF, good stuff. The Hardys bet the Young Bucks in a 20-minute botch fest that was sad. Jade Cargill defeated Anna Jay in a match that was just sad. But hey, Athena, yay! The House of Black would defeat Death Triangle in a little wakey Ryan. Adam Cole would defeat Samoa Joe in the first half of the Men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament finals. Really rooting for Joe here. Britt Baker would then win against Ruby Soho in a match that was somehow longer. The Men of the Year and Paige Van Zandt would defeat Kazarian, Guevara and Conte. That match was just something. Then O'Reilly would beat Darby Allin in a match that woke everyone up, and I really get a kick out of this match. Oh, that was fun. Then Thunder Rosa would defeat Serena Deeb in another really good match. And then the show kind of gets better. We've had our bad start, but Anarchy in the Arena, Jericho Appreciation Society versus BCC. It's the first one. It's not the best one, but it's certainly the first one. Jurassic Express would defeat Swerve in Our Glory and Team Taz in a match that was superb. And CM Punk would wrongfully defeat Adam Page and piss me and the world off. Full Gear 2021 is brilliant. MJF defeats Darby Allin in a banger. Simple. Bryan Danielson would defeat Miro in a banger. Simple. The Falls Count Anywhere 6-man tag with Christian and Jungle Boy finally going mad. Banger. There was some duds, but CM Punk would battle Eddie Kingston in that 11-minute match. Beautiful. And Adam Page would defeat Kenny Omega to win the World Championship. You see why this show genuinely should be considered among AEW's best work, because their longest running storyline of all time paid off in the main event of this show. Omega's reign ends in the main event of this show, and also CM Punk Eddie Kingston was fucking superb. Revolution 2022. What a belting show. This is when Ryan properly fell in love with AEW, I would say. Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho, beautiful. Kingston came out, kicked the crap out of Jericho. Jurassic Express defeat Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, a match that I was very surprised Jurassic Express would go on to win. The Face of the Revolution ladder match, one of the best ones. Wardlow wins, beating Cage, Lee, Cassidy, Hobbs and Starks. Jade Cargill defeat Ty Conte. Britt Baker defeat Thunder Rosa. This is when AEW's Women's Division want the best. CM Punk MJF's dog collar match and Moxley versus Danielson, whoever was the best. A Tornado 6-man tag with Guevara, Sting and Darby beating the Andrade family office. Strange little thing. And then Adam Page would defeat Adam Cole in a really good match. But mainly William Regal. So this show has all of those golden moments, and that dog collar match, and that Eddie Kingston win, and the beginning of the Blackpool Combat Club, and Adam Page cementing his reign. Do you need more from professional wrestling? No, you don't. You get that and you say, you know what, thank you very much, I'll take what I'm gave. Bound for Glory 2020. Sometimes I just watch TNA. Raheem Raju would defeat Chris Bay, Jordan Grace, TJP, Trey and Willie Mack, and the only thing this match really did for me was introduce me to Chris Bay, Jordan Grace, TJP, Trey Miguel and Willie Mack. Where? I'm joking, I knew who TJP was. And introduced me to who Raheem Raju was. Just really confused to why Raheem Raju won this match. The Collier Shot Gauntlet, which was a match really storylined about Rhino and Heath Slater, which is a strange choice But generally the match was not stacked in any way, so fair enough. Moose defeats EC3 in the Control Your Narrative match, loved that. Ken Shamrock defeated Eddie Edwards, I was confused. The North would win the tag belts from Ace Austin, Madman Fulton, Chris Sabin, because poor old Alex Shelley kicked the bucket, and the Good Brothers. Su Young won the women's title from Daniela Perrazzo, basically just splitting up her title reign for some reason, and Rich Swann would win the Impact World title. What a confusing time to try and get back into TNA. But hey, I really, really liked the main event. It was good. Wrestlemania 30. Danielson. This is the Bryan Danielson show. This is the Daniel Bryan show. He beats Triple H. He has his monster entrance video. The opening match is too good. Triple H has a god tier entrance. Danielson has a god tier entrance. The jazz opening, the opening with The Rock, Austin, and Hogan, always gets a kick out of me. I remember watching that live and being like, who's out next? Who's out next? Could it be Britt? Could it be Rick? Just not really understanding wrestling at such a young age. The streak ends, the Shield squash some boys, another banging video package for Bray Wyatt, and an ending that I don't hate. I don't hate that John Cena won, and then the ending of the show with Daniel Bryan winning after another banger match. So many good matches on this show, and so many good stories, so many good video packages, and just a general overall good feel. This show is another proper comfort show. Wrestling needs to be more like this, and I'm so glad that nowadays it's back to feeling like this. Takeover Cardiff has Walter versus Tyler Bate, which is a 10-star match, no matter who you ask. WWE put on that match. They had that match under their roof. Funny that, innit? It has the women's world title run of Kaylee Ray defeating Toni Storm at the beginning of her title reign, and it also has an amazing tag team match of the Grizzled Young Vets, Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, and Gallus. Such a good tag match. This match would see the Cardiff boys pick up the win. Dave Mastiff, I believe, had a big match with Joe Coffey, and Trent Seven, Eddie Dennis, and Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin, and that pretty much wraps up the card. Superb. This is what wrestling needs nowadays, is NXT UK again. NXT UK was good. We were really good. We put on this show. We got Walter Bate. That's mad that we got Walter Bate and they let them fucking go. I don't know how we got to Starcade 2000, but we'll know it's Starcade 2000. The three-way tag team ladder match #1 contendership to a singles title exists, and it was won by Shane Helms and Shannon Moore, I think. Lance Storm bet the cat. Terry Funk would defeat Crowbar for the hardcore title. Old man Terry Funk. Chronic would defeat Big Vito and Reno, and then one of those ones would turn heel. Mike Awesome and Bam Bam Bigelow had an ambulance match. Something General Rection would do a thing. The Filthy Animals, Jeff Jarrett was there with the Nazis. DDP and Kevin Nash, who've been cutting drunk ass promos the entire night, would defeat the Perfect Event of Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo. Goldberg defeated Lex Luger in an ODQ match, and Steiner would defeat Sid Vicious. The show just got worse the longer it went on. Is that what WCW was? That's a really good, actually, pitch for WCW as a concept. It just got worse the longer it went on. What even is WCW sometimes? So World War III, 1997, the Faces of Fear defeat Ernest Miller and Glacier, sure. Saturn would defeat Disco Inferno, that was kind of funny. Yuji Nagata rocks up and fights Ultimo Dragon, I remember getting a real kick out of that. Ravens in the show, Steve McMichael, Eddie Guerrero then beats Rey Mysterio, because of course. Kurt Hennig defends the US title against Ric Flair, but the main talking point is the 3-ring 60-man Battle Royal, which would see Scott Hall win. Sure, this match was going to be bad. This match was worse. Also in the show you had the Steiners defeating Dave Taylor and Steven Regal. Oh, it's just, you needed that bit of knowledge. I don't understand WCW. And I never will. How does it function? How did it function? How did people get kicked? Got a good laugh at WrestleMania 38. The show that famously had Johnny Knoxville pin Sami Zayn. It also had the funny Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Natalya, Shayna Baszler, Carmella, and Vega. The Naomi Sasha Banks 4-way women's match. Just saying. Edge and Styles underperformed, but hey, Damian Priest was here. Pat McAfee would come out to 7 Nation Army in the most memorable thing he ever did and beat Austin Theory. And then he would lose to Vince McMahon, who then got stunned. Of course, the previous night, Stone Cold would come out of retirement and beat Kevin Owens for hating him. Roman and Brock would do winner takes all, bollocks, cool. And Charlotte would win the women's main event with a big boot. At least Bianca did good wrestle. The show was fine. No, it was actually so much fun though, watching this live and in living colour. Wrestlemania 39 was banging. Now, it was also real, okay, so we need to talk about how real this show was. Austin Theory and John Cena mattered. The tag four-way was a lot of fun. Rollins would defeat Logan Paul. Sure. Mysterio would defeat Mysterio, nice. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair would have the greatest match ever, don't remember it. And Owens and Zayn would beat the Bullies. That got me happy. Yay. Yay, good guys. Then Cody would fail to finish the story, as deserved. The show was just generally a lot of fun, and it paid up to the Hollywood spiel. And if you're a hater, then you can go and do one, because this show rocked. Okay, it had the Hell in a Cell with Russell Crowe. Like, what would you want in a Hell in a Cell match that has Russell Crowe? I'd like to revisit that. Russell Crowe, Hell in a Cell. Brood Edge. 2023's Night of Champions might have been one of the better Night of Champions and Saudi shows in recent memory. It crowned a new World Heavyweight Champion in the World Heavyweight Championship Tournament final, with Seth Rollins beating AJ Styles in a pretty alright match, Trish Stratus defeating Becky Lynch, Gunther defending his title successfully against Mustafa Ali, and Asuka shockingly ending Bianca Belair's run. Well done, Daniel, for predicting that. Brock Lesnar would battle Cody Rhodes in one of the worst matches I've ever seen. But your main event was important, like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeating Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa to retain the double tag straps. The energy for this main event just had me constantly at the edge of my seat, like, will they do it? Can they do it? Please do it. Like, please do it. They didn't do it, but they could have. Oh yeah, and I did it aforementioned, Rhea Ripley squashed Natalya in a minute, wasting everyone's time. But hey, she got a pay-per-view match. That's nice. Sometimes I forget there was a Payback event last year. So this show had Becky Lynch defeat Trish Stratus in a steel cage match, finally ending this feud. Oh my god, it's been going on since pre-Mania. LA Knight would defeat The Miz with the special guest referee of John Cena for some unbeknownst reason, setting up the alignment of LA Knight and John Cena for a bit. That was a kind of fun allegiance. Rey Mysterio would retain his US title against Austin Theory because God is dead and this match has to happen on pay-per-view. Rhea Ripley would defeat Raquel Rodriguez in a 20-minute match. Oh god. All of the matches on this show were like 20 minutes long. Seth Rollins would defeat Shinsuke Nakamura in a real good match, which Shinsuke should 100% have won. But your match of the night was the Judgment Day's Priest and Balor defeating Owens and Zayn for the tag titles in the, I believe it was called the Steel City Street Fight, which was a beautiful match. It was the first time in recent memory that WWE went into the crowd, and then they did it in every other show. Fastlane conceptually complimented Payback, I suppose, as this time Cody and Jey Uso would defeat the Judgment Day in a 20-minute tag title match. This match shocked me when Cody and Jey won. Then they had the press conference after, which I assume was like way more better than the actual show. I was very sad to see Damian Priest lose here. He is the best wrestler in your company. Cody and Jey celebrate their tag straps. The LWO finally revealed Carlito as a member, and they beat Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. That's sad. Io Sky would defeat Asuka and Charlotte Flair in a banging three-way. John Cena and LA Knight would beat the Bloodlines, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. Again, it was weird that they were aligned for a bit with no Roman in that. Just kind of filling our way to LA Knight fights him for the title, I suppose. Seth Rollins would defeat Shinsuke Nakamura in a 30-minute last man standing match, which once again, Shinsuke Nakamura should have won. The fact that Fastlane was at this moment in time really like messed up Ryan's perception of time and his spot in the world. Elimination Chamber coming to you live from Perth was fun. The crowd was not as much fun as all of the other international crowds. I will step in and say that now. There's my pause for the women's chamber match, Becky Lynch defeating Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Raquel Reese and Tiffany Stratton. My God, did people want Stratton to win, and my God, did I want Stratton to win. And then Liv goes and does really good. This match is just really good wrestling. The Judgment Day retain the tag belts in a beautiful match that lasted 20 minutes against the Newcastle Republic's Dun and Bate as a glorious sunset would set on the sky. Rhea Ripley would defeat Nia Jax in the main event. Good on you, Rhea, for getting a main event, but the absolute highlight of this was the World Heavyweight title contendership match between Lashley, Owens, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Randy Orton and Drew. Set up so many matches. AJ Styles, LA Knight for one, Logan Paul, Randy Orton and Lashley for another. You can't ask for much more from your professional wrestling, I don't think. Wrestlemania 37 saw the return of fans for one show only, and it kicked off with a lot of rain and Poncho Joe and Drew McIntyre failing to beat Bobby Lashley, Mandy Rose slipping, Tamina getting really over, thank God, she's the best, and a beautiful match between Sasha and Bianca. The next night would see Tamina get more over but lose. I remember Seth Rollins battling Cesaro on this show and Cesaro getting a huge bloody win. That's always fun to see. But your main event, Roman, Edge, Daniel Bryan, any one of these three could have won it. And my God, Roman won it when he stacked them and pinned both of them to retain his Universal title. This show has such a nostalgic perspective in my head because it was the first show back with fans. It was the first show with a crowd, so it is always going to be special and unique as it ended the weirdest time period in professional wrestling history. And that's saying something. Thank you very much for listening to this edition of OMFRU. I have been Ryan Robertson, the man that rambled about 30 different wrestling pay-per-views, from most of them were actually really recent. If you would like to leave your own OMFRU in the episode descriptor, go on, why don't you? We might use it for something in the future. And with that being said, have a good day, folks.